Good evening on this Monday. Welcome back to Big Steve Cool 1872. I was going to do a stream, but you know what? I don't quite have time to do a stream, so I thought I'd just give a wee video here and get my thoughts across. It's a big week. It's 2 weeks. Well, I say it's 2 weeks. It's two games in a week, and they couldn't get much bigger. Battle of Britain, Old Firm Cup final. It's big, but I'm just over for Twitter, right? I was sitting on Twitter and I wasn't arguing. But Albanian football, I'm sure we all aware the guy on Twitter. I was having a back and forth about this guy about Barami and Yanis Hadji. This guy seems to think that Barami hasn't been dropped and was simply just being rested the past bunch of games. I think anyone, you can clearly see that he disappointed against Nice, and really ever since then, it has been the Yanis Hadji show. Yanis Hadji and Danilo Igamani and Tierney. And this isn't me saying, right, that Barami doesn't have a future at this club, because I think Rangers at their best in the future probably will have Barami in it in some shape or form. Tierney's not going to be here forever, right? He's away at the end of the season. And God forbid, if Danilo picked up an injury, right, I think the stronger Rangers team, I've been saying it for weeks, like Barami, Hadji, Tierney, and Igamani, try that. Or Danilo, but obviously we've kind of switched it to the two up top with Igamani on the left, which I've liked. But when I look at it, it's like no one's been rested for the Spurs games. Barami's not been rested. And I think Barami, right, there's a player there, but the guy has had 1 goal so far in the league and no assists. Like that's not good enough. Yeah, has Barami been our best player in a few of our games? Has he scored goals to get us through to the final of this cup? Absolutely, but I think too many people are sleeping on Hadji, and I think Clement's probably realised in the last couple of games when he started him, like, God, I've missed a guy like Hadji. What Hadji comes across and what he says. He loves the club. He didn't sulk about the whole contract situation. He's now playing his football, and honestly, I don't want to sound biased, but I'd probably say Yanis Hadji is one of my favourite players right now, because I tell you what, the guy's got heart, and he speaks from the heart. And he obviously cares about the club, and that goes a long way for me. And he's also got the ability to back it up. I see people, Hadji's got some of the worst technical ability of all time. I don't know where people are plucking this from, right? Maybe some people got an agenda against Hadji. And, what people seem to forget is that Hadji, had a massive part to play in the 2021 season when we won the league. Across, 46 games, he got 23 goals / assists. That's a great wee record. 15 goals and assists out of 28 in the league campaign. The next season he was going well as well, till he sadly picked up that nasty injury, and he hasn't had a proper chance since then. And yeah, is Hadji not as good as he once was back then? Yeah, maybe he's not, right? Maybe the wool's been pulled over my eyes, but I tell you what, I think Hadji half as good as he was back then still walks into this team, and what Clement's been picking recently, it tends to go that way. So yeah, I think Yanis Hadji has definitely got a future at this club. I like the kid, love what he says, and I hope he can just add trophies and goals and assists to the comments. But yeah, moving on from that, Philip Clement says that we're in a really good place at the start of a testing week. As a testing week, Tottenham obviously kind of bottled a 2-0 lead. I say kind of, they did bottle a 2-0 lead against Chelsea. Cucurella fell on his arse twice. And they still, realistically, that game probably should have finished 4-1, because those 2 goals were so avoidable if he didn't slip on his arse. But Rangers, it's a 4th win in a row in all competitions. The gap's been reduced to Aberdeen. There's a game in hand. We can go a point clear of them. Clement says his players are starting to recognise what to do when, and they're getting connections and all the right timings. We're not there yet at our maximum. That's why I like to hear. Spurs is going to be a really big test. The team never played at this level against that type of opponent. Have we not, though? I think that's a wee bit disrespectful to like Benfica. Like, yeah, Clement, well, I guess he could be on about this season, right? And Spurs have got a very good team, don't get it wrong, right? But are we going to sit here and say that, like, Lyon have got a much worse team than Spurs? And I know people love their Premier League and they love their bias and all that stuff, right? But I'm not going to sit here and pretend that the gap between Lyon and Spurs is of mammoth proportions. It's not. Lyon spent like 150 million in the summer. All right, maybe they're suffering from that, now. But Tottenham, yeah, very good team. Tottenham, right? Same with United, but they're two teams that are nowhere near the top of the Premier League. They're simply names, especially more in United's case. So, I mean, I'm looking forward to obviously both of these games against the two English clubs, and I think we've got a decent chance. But that brings us to the next question: what will the team be when Rangers play against Tottenham? Well, I don't. I mean, honestly, if Tav's got to start one of them, it's going to have to be the Tottenham game. If I see James Tavernier line up against Dyson Maeda one more time, man, I'm going to jump out the window. I can't do it. I just can't do it. You know, I honestly I can't. I just cannot do it. And he shouldn't be getting on the pitch against Celtic because Dyson Maeda has got a reliable engine, folks. He's like a fucking Mercedes engine, man, with no chance of it breaking down. I was going for an F1 analogy there, but it just didn't really work. But it can't happen. It can't happen. Right? If Tavernier's to get brought on against Celtic, it has to be in a forward position. That would tell me that we're chasing the game, and maybe that'll be happening. But here, Danilo and Hadji obviously can't play. It's a blessing in disguise because they can be rested for the Celtic game, and I just don't want any excuses going into these games. Cry about financial gap. This Spurs, right, have played teams far beneath them in the Europa League this season, and they've gave them games. Teams that are even far beneath us, and they've gave Spurs good games. There's no excuse for us going into these two matches. We're at Ibrox for one of them, and it's an Old Firm Cup final. I don't want to hear about finances and all that shite, because at the end of the day, Clement, you're bigging this team up off the back of beating the likes of Kelly, Ross County and St Johnstone. Three teams that we have massive financial gaps over. So it's just hypocritical. So how about you get the fishing rod out, reel that in, stop talking pish, and pick the right teams, and hopefully we can get the right results. It could be a fantastic week, but come this time next week on the Monday after, it could be utter shite, to say the least. I'm looking forward to it, but at the same time, I'm fucking shitting myself.